Hello, and thank you for the opportunity to share my solution with a problem that is across America right now in the education system, and something that I believe that we can really improve on to help teachers and paraprofessionals in our communities and in our schools. So I'm here to share with you today my solution to an ongoing problem. And I'd like to talk to you more about the solution that I've come up with and how it's unique and why you should invest in it. So data collection made easier is my overall goal for this assignment. And for you guys to really understand what data collection does in our schools and how we can support paraprofessionals and teachers by improving data collection methods that we currently have. So what is a paraprofessional and how can we better understand their role? So a paraprofessional is an individual also known as an aide within a school district. Oftentimes they're helping kids one-on-one and or in group settings, specifically children with IEPs or 504 programs. These children need additional support because they receive special education assistance. And with that comes educational goals and developing plans based on those educational goals. And the data that we collect on those does support their goals. So it's very important to have up-to-date, accurate data to be able to collect that information and put it into an IEP or a 504 program so that we can better support these children. So this is why the data is needed. It supports our kids, it supports and shows the progress as well as if there's any regression in learning needs. And it supports an inclusive and adaptive environment for those kids in our schools. And so that we can better service them under their IEP goals and their 504 program goals. The paraprofessionals are the backbone of this data collection. They are often the individuals that do the data tracking and input the data information daily into systems within the school districts. So data collection methods and why should we change them right now? Oftentimes right now, the current method is a generic tablet. So something like an iPad would be used where there would be a program that we would upload behaviors into and traditional data tracking sheets where we would tally methods to collect data on poor behaviors, positive behaviors, and other interactions that students may have. Another a way to collect data is a traditional pen and paper style. So often your regular paper on a clipboard with pen and paper, and you're going through and handwriting that data and information daily and hourly. And a less reliable form of data collection will be memory recall. So at the end of the day, an aide or paraprofessional sits down and recalls the information that happened throughout the day and tries to tally and remember any instant behaviors that happened, anything that was positive or negative that we need to record so that we can support the 504 and IEP programs. Do these really work? Some of them do, but they are not necessarily reliable. Oftentimes, specifically with the tablet and the traditional pen and paper, it's inconvenient and those items do become bulky. So when you're working with students, specifically elementary school age, let's say, there's a lot of energy, a lot of kids running around, a lot of things going on constantly. So you have to have your hands free and available to support kids, especially if you have a child that you're working with that has aggressive behaviors or tendencies. You want to make sure that you're able to help support that child, do any safety blocks that you need to, and intervene in any ways. So traditional pen and paper or tablet isn't going to necessarily be the easiest, most convenient way. Memory recall is also unreliable, and you can be missing really large chunks of information. And this isn't something that we want when we're looking at data collection. It really skews the data, just like in any other research method or system. And it also becomes a safety hazard to students and paraprofessionals. So when we're carrying large items around, such as bulky tablets or the pen and paper, as well as even doing memory recall, that can be a safety concern. Because what if we're not tracking that information that's really pertinent to support them in their educational goals? So these are changes that we need to consider and reasons why there's improvement needed in the data collection systems within our school district. So what is the problem and why are we solving it? Initially, my problem started to develop on how could we better solve data collection, but it turns out the real question is how can we effectively and conveniently collect reliable data as paraprofessionals. Well, this is how I plan to fix it. A data to you device, a device you see that I'm wearing here, an easy recorder that will allow you to initiate recording data as well as your voice at the same time. It's wearable, lightweight, and easy to use. It records data via buttons, so you'll have a button associated with a behavior. If the child is displaying that behavior, you'll hold down the button. The behavior will display on the screen at the bottom for confirmation that it's the correct behavior. If you would like to erase it, you double click. All of the data then is tracked into a computer system and is uploaded into an app that you can later review. The small screen allows for you to customize and make sure that the information is correct. The screen will also display the student's name. So you know that if you're working with multiple students, you're clicking for the right child and for the right behavior. And additionally, with this data, it's not limited to just the behaviors that are registered to the buttons. You can also click the button on the side right here and speak into the top, where it allows you to put in voice memos. These voice memos will also upload to the data files so that later paraprofessionals or special education teachers can go back and review the information and be able to see the in-depth data and convert it into the IEP programs and the statistics that we need to develop the IEPs. This is very different from anything that's on the market right now. There's nothing on the market that has a screen as well as computer database buttons with a voice recorder. Oftentimes these are going to be separate pieces. So you would need to wear a voice recorder as well as a data tracker or hold that iPad together. That iPad isn't going to be able to be wearable around your neck and be convenient. One other thing that comes into mind is safety. So these can be on easy release latches. So on your lanyard, no choking hazards. So a student, if they were to come up and pull it, it will quickly release. This is convenient if you're needing to use your hands, if you're in a safety concern in the moment. You'll be able to quickly access this device where you can control the data selection and you can control and record what you're saying. This is different from anything on the market, and it's not going to be your traditional data recording device. And it's also not just for data, it's for memory recall, and it's to support kids across America and support their IEP and educational goals. This is something that we need to consider and we need to support students in. And when we do this, we're including all of these pieces that are in this device. So that's not all it can do. It can do much more than just record and track data. It can support students. And if that's what the real goal is, then considering this device would be a great asset to your district and continue to support these students in the long term. I highly encourage that you continue to look into the options that you have, and I guarantee you will land on this data to you device.